get mad about me doing these videos, I didn't really say nothing. Y'all are literally operating in a building that y'all don't own, in which they're trying to kick you out every single day, and y'all can't even do the bare minimum of taking care of the building and taking care of the doors and taking care of the kids. Don't play with me, because it could really get there. Y'all mad about what I'm saying, and everything I've said was true to my personal experience. There's a lot of things that I could mention that will make all of you look horrible. Like, there's a lot of things that I could mention that will literally shake your life up. So I need y'all to tread lightly. What up, y'all? Welcome to part 4. This video took a little bit longer to get out because I just had to wrap my head around what's been going on ever since I dropped my first set of videos. So before we get started, I need to let you guys know that there's a specific reason as to why I did my videos the way I did, released them when I did, and most importantly, omitted a majority of the details. Because realistically, I didn't want these videos to hurt anyone or get anyone in trouble. That's why I did not disclose the names and I did not use any real names. Now, one thing I will say is I expected people to be upset by what I had to say. However, it has been brought to my attention that the school would like to sue me and they're pursuing legal action, which doesn't make sense because how are you going to pursue legal action against me when I never said your name? Despite people telling me I should have did a whistleblower lawsuit, despite people telling me that I should have outed the name because the school is downright terrible just from the minimal details I told, I said, nah. Because like I said in the previous parts and on the parts on Instagram and TikTok, I think the school does serve a purpose. It's just the people that work there. The ghetto staff and the blatant disregard for protocol is the reason why that school is the way it is. I think that there is a place for it, and I do not think that all the other sites operate the way that mine does. Also note that everything that I've been saying in my videos is my personal experience and my personal perspective. You do not have to agree with it. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck if you like me or you don't, but respect is not an option. For the children that took it upon themselves to text my phone popping shit about my videos, let me just tell you right now, I am not that school. I press charges. Okay? I'm a Karen. I went from slapping people to being a Karen. Okay? That's what you call growth. Don't text my phone again. Never been the one. Since that school refuses to teach you a lesson, that school refuses to hold you accountable for your actions, don't try me. I never been the one. I press charges. Now, you guys are probably curious as to why didn't you block them? I did. I don't know what type of nonsense Apple is on to where you can still get messages after you block someone. But some of these messages still came through, and they just genuinely prove my point that y'all are literally some of the worst children that I've dealt with. You guys are probably some of the worst children anyone in that building has ever worked with. And most importantly, that everything I said has some basis to it. To threaten legal action and then to text my phone like this, it proves A, guilt on the school's part, and B, from the children's standpoint, you are exactly how I said you were. It's gotten to the point where apparently children are coming to school to watch my videos on these laptops. It's gotten to the point where they are threatening legal action and there's people sitting here taking notes on what I'm saying in my videos. Just hit me up, babe. I could give you the notes. Let's make life a lot easier for you. I've never been the one, okay? I've never been one to play games because I own the arcade. All right. So if we want to play, we can play. The fact that there's people that I still talk to at this school who are being legitimately bullied by staff, children that still have a relationship with me are being harassed by full-grown adults. Y'all need to get it together. But most importantly, understand you're just proving my point. Previous team apparently has taken it upon themselves to go around calling people by their fake names from the YouTube video. And to be honest, all I gotta say is a lot of y'all need to get it together, okay? Y'all need to stop this bullshit. Y'all need to worry about your grades and you need to worry about graduating. Don't watch me, watch your fucking grades. As staff, you would think that you would know better because you guys are fucking adults. Like, you guys are adults. You would think that you would know not to bully children and not to be rude, disrespectful, and bully other coworkers based off of their personal relationships. And you're genuinely proving my point that a lot of you guys are ghetto, immature, unprofessional, and the list goes on and on and on. But the words I would use, a lot of you guys probably wouldn't understand because a lot of you guys are just as bad as the kids. A lot of the reason a lot of these kids are the way they are is because a lot of y'all are dropping the ball and you don't give a fuck. A lot of you guys are just there for a paycheck. But I will take this opportunity to say shout outs to those of you guys who have remained my friend, who have been sticking up for me, who have been defending me, who have common sense, and most notably, who are still there because only you can do it. Okay. I gracefully bowed out. So let the rest of the stories commence. Additionally, please refer to the previous part. For those of you guys who would like to follow me on the gram, etc., take my dance classes, the QR code is right here up on the screen. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, hype, do something to interact with the video. There's a couple things I have to revisit that are not in the order that I'd like to stay in. So please follow me. I'm going to more than likely do this part and then I'm going to film another one and we're going to end it. Okay. We're going to end it at part 5 because this is taking a lot of energy out of me. And I will say shout outs to all of you guys who've been liking, commenting, sending me your personal stories, especially hyping the videos because I appreciate it more than anything. Now, where we left off close to Christmas break. I told you guys about the performance. I told you guys about the class culture, and I told you guys about some of the staff. Now, there's some things that I skipped because it was just going to take way too long to explain. And the first thing we're going to get into that was going to take way too long to explain is the para situation, right? Now, in the last part, I told you guys that my first cold was a fight that broke out between Melissa and Catherine. But technically, that wasn't. My first code actually happened with a para and a student. Now, we're going to be talking up more about Heather as I promised from the last part. Heather, like I said, never really gave me any issues, but she was known to be one of the worst students on that team. Honestly, one of the worst students in that building. Now, the thing is with Heather, I saw a lot of myself in Heather. It's actually kind of crazy because, like I said, bro, I went from slapping bitches to Karen. Growth. Okay, growth. I used to be one of those people that literally, like, back in it, like, anybody that knows me personally, they know, like, I used to really be like, you was talking shit, slap. Oh, you want to fight? Let's fight. Like, I was one of those. Like, I didn't do a lot of talking. Okay, I still don't do a lot of talking. I'm either walking away or I'm gonna tell you about yourself. Like, before it was, I was either walking away, I was hitting you. So again, growth, right? So I typically don't play games with people. Growing up, I never played games with people. So Heather is very much like that. Like, she was known for fighting. She was known for crashing out. She was known for always having an issue. And to be honest with you, I didn't meet her until like probably the week of the performance because she genuinely didn't come to school like that. And she was very truant. I feel like once I came, she probably came a little bit more frequent, especially after they would have like these interventions and these talks with these kids every 2 seconds, which I'm going to get to. But for the most part, Heather was like, she was very chill. Like I didn't have any issues with her. I'm like, you guys are talking about like she's the worst kid in the class. Like, I don't understand it. And it was like, oh, you gonna find out. You gonna see. You gonna see. Every single time I said, I'm like, yo, I actually like Heather. Everybody was looking at me like, what do you mean? Like, you like Heather? You like Heather? I'm like, yeah, I actually like her. Like, of all these kids, she was definitely in my top 5. I actually truly liked her. But then I ain't gonna hold you. Everybody told me fuck around and find out. Oh, I fucked around and I found out. Okay. So like I said, Catherine had a series of different paras. By the time I got there, she was on para number 3. And then I believe that para ended up leaving because they're reassigned to another child. So then we have para number 4. I love para number 4. Okay. We just gonna call her para number 4. I don't even know where she at. It'd be great if I could like connect with her because we clicked. Okay, we were so cool in that one day, shit, 2 days. I think it was one day. I'm not even gonna hold you. This para lasted one day because this is a day that Heather decided to come in. Now, like I said, very truant. She doesn't come in often. So first, we need to do an introduction of the para. Now, shall we? Now, para number 4 actually came in during a transitional period. This school has 3 trimesters, and at this time, we were having a reset day. I hate this shit. Okay. I hate the reset situation. I hate the interventions they try to do. I just don't like it. All gives jail. Like it really does. If you guys watch like jail docs and stuff, like you would know exactly what I'm talking about, but that's not the point. All right. She came in during a reset day. Now, reset day is basically where you reset your expectations. You tell the kids, you know, hey, you guys been doing this, but this is no longer allowed. Here's a new rule. This is what we're going to do. This is how class is going to go. It never goes the way it's supposed to. This was the first reset day that I partook in. And I think I had maybe two, because I left like midway, and we have like a few like reset. There's another day. There's one that kind of happens midterm, or like there's times where we come from break where there's another reset situation. Cause I'm like, I don't know why. I was there for one full semester, but I remember having like 1 to 2 of these days where like it was like everything was a reset, and it's like, it's not a reset. These kids don't give a fuck. They've literally been able to get away with any and everything every day, and you talk about some reset day. Like, what are we actually talking about? Like, if you're not gonna really send these kids home for their behavior, if you're not gonna suspend them for doing the shit that they do, like, I don't understand what reset you think this is. So during reset day, most of the time the kids are in homeroom. The homeroom usually consists of like 2 to 4 staff members. Mine had 3. Apparently I had one of the better homeroom teams, but of course we had one of the worst teams, so it didn't matter how good the staff on this team was. And we have to give some names for the teachers on my homeroom team. Love them to death. Again, really good educators. I really liked the teachers, man. But we're gonna call, you know what? We're just gonna say Miss A and Miss B. That's it. Miss A had a good rapport with these students. However, oh my God, I just remembered I talked about Miss A. I talked about Miss A in the previous part, where basically I was saying that teacher B was the one that was coming at the students saying like, oh, you know, your hair look good, but your grades don't. I'm gonna name teacher A, Miss A. Okay, so teacher A, Miss A, same teacher in the previous story in which I talked about, where basically one of my students ended up going back and forth with the teacher once the teacher left. The teacher that left, teacher A, Miss A, right? Now the other teacher, we're just going to name her teacher Z, okay? Now she was the children's math teacher. The kids hated her, but yet the entire league hated her. And they hated her because she was a real teacher teaching real math for the real world. And they were not used to real teaching or real discipline. And everyone was failing. That's literally what that was. With the exception, I only had maybe like 4 or 5 kids that weren't failing that class. But other than that, my entire class was failing. The other leagues were also struggling, but I really liked her as well. I loved how Miss A had a good rapport with the kids. And I love the fact that Miss Z was a real educator and she was really trying to get these kids to learn something. You feel me? But anyhow, that day in particular, that morning, during our morning meeting, they tried to tell us how we're supposed to do this reset, how we're supposed to reset expectations. They wanted us to do activities with the kids, and they wanted us to set these goals. Now, there were maybe like 7 core value situations with this school, and basically they had to pick one to work on for the trimester. I, as a newer coach, didn't know exactly where to go from here and what their new goal should be, but I did have one, and I was like, accountability. Okay. I chose accountability and managing emotions because these kids have 0 accountability and they do not know how to manage their emotions. Okay. Hence the situation that happened with Catherine and Melissa. Keisha came to this reset situation and she agreed that that should be it. But I feel like she had a different one too. There's one that's very similar to managing your emotions. But in a general sense, like that's what we all agreed on. And then, you know, we were like, okay, we'll ask the kids what they want their reward to be, because there's supposed to be a trip. Each team is supposed to get their own trip every single trimester or whatever once they hit their goal. Personally, I feel like they get the trip anyway, because I'm seeing kids go on trips and they didn't grow. They didn't. Anyhow, that's not the point. So I said, okay, this is what we're going to work on. You know, we hit the board. We start writing some ideas. When you guys hit your goal, you guys have $500 for a trip. Why are these kids going to sit here talking about some
a trip? A trip? The fuck? Who cares about a trip? We don't give a fuck about no trip.
Ha ha ha. They all start laughing. They doing the most. They cracking jokes about the trip. Now, mind you, if you guys remember from part 1, when I first stepped in there, they were taking a trip. I guess their previous semester trip for whatever goal they reached at that time. And I told you half the kids didn't even show up. Okay. Apparently from the ones that did show up, they did really well. And the trip went well. But in general, a majority of these kids don't care about a trip. So they're like, oh, what the fuck we gonna do with $500? Trip for what? Trip for what? Da, da, da. And I'm like, honestly, there's a lot you can do with $500. Like, it is a lot of y'all, but like, if anything, like maybe we could do a brunch. Maybe you could do this.
Oh, we don't give a fuck.
We don't give a fuck.
Now, mind you, at this time, Catherine's new para has came in, right? Para number 4 is just sitting there. She's watching, she's observing, and she's just looking at the way these kids are talking. And she's like, bro, like, y'all need to relax. Like, it's not even that serious. Y'all are pretty girls. Y'all need to talk like that. Y'all need to come at them like that. Like, they trying to help y'all because, you know, like, y'all could have a trip if y'all do well. And they're like,
Yeah, but we don't want a trip though. Like, this shit is stupid. Like,
they're just being mad disrespectful and mad resistant to literally having goals that lead to a trip. This sounds so stupid. I should have got it out of there the first week. Now that I'm actually sitting here like saying this, it just sounds so stupid because they're literally going back and forth about, oh, we don't want to go on a trip. This is stupid. And parent number 4 is like, I don't understand. It's a trip. Like, honestly, just put out some ideas. If you don't have any ideas, then, you know, you don't really need to say anything. But she's just like, honestly, sitting there, you know, saying all of that isn't going to do anything. Like, you guys are real vulgar, and it's like, it's really off-putting. Like, y'all are pretty girls, y'all are young, and the fact that y'all talk like this to each other, y'all talk like this to y'all teachers is not it. Like, it's not it. And at this point, I'm shocked because I thought they were gonna cuss her out because that's what they do when anybody says anything to them. They be like, shut the fuck up, bitch, I don't care. They were actually listening to her, and it was like, yeah, like, they was just sitting there like in silence. Some of them was sitting there in silence, or some of them was like, yeah. And I was just like, thank you for saying something, because the parents never really say anything. But I ain't gonna hold you. I think that this is kind of what led to her demise. Okay. So she gives them an entire speech about how they talk and how they need to be better and how they're pretty girls and their language doesn't have to be that foul. And by that point, you know, we move on to Uber period, which I think this day it might have been Circle. I don't even remember, to be honest with you. And the conversation continues. And basically, I don't even remember what the children's rebuttal was as to why they talk and act that way, but I know it couldn't have been a good one because they continued to do it anyway. And it's so sad because you got teacher Z, okay, Ms. Z, sitting there like, oh my God, aren't you guys worried about the trip? You guys need to have a trip. I'm trying to get out this building. I'm trying to go on a trip, because us as like homeroom teachers, the coach or whatever, they all go on the trip. So we all trying to get out the building. Like, we trying to see like what we finna do. So she's like, oh my God, don't y'all care about the trip? And it became a running joke that like trimester, because they really didn't give a fuck about the trip. They would get so mad. Like, every time they would misbehave, we'd be like, come on, guys, think about the trip. And they're like,
we don't give a fuck about no trip.
whatever. Okay, so now fast forward to dance, right? I need you guys to keep in mind, Heather has a para, Catherine has a para. Two of them have two completely different paras. Para number 4 is Catherine's para. This is her first day. Heather comes in. By this time, we're in dance. Now, this day in particular, I walk into the dance room and there's a chair. Why is there a chair? Pas food cop one. There should never be any chairs in any dance class. This room was already set up poorly for dance because there's an entire ledge in which the children take it upon themselves to sit on when they do not want to participate. So the fact that now there's a chair, I'm like, oh my God. And I don't have time to move it. I don't have time to do much of anything, because if this contract and this description of the position were to go the way it should be, I would have had time to go up there, look, prep the classroom, and move that chair. But I didn't have that time. Basically a CL. Okay, I'm a correctional officer, right? There's a chair there. Heather, she goes, she sits in the chair. She's like, oh, this is my chair. Da, da, da. Now, the thing is, Heather don't be dancing anyway. Okay, so I'm not even about to like come at her or whatever. We have to run the dance. Now, this entire situation happened before the performance, right? But I told you guys I would get into Heather and the pairs in the next part. So here it goes. Number 4 sat in it, and then Heather sat in it. So like they were taking turns kind of like sitting in the chair, but mainly Heather had the chair first. Heather has a propensity to walk out of class. That's part of the reason why she has a para in the first place. So Heather walks out of class. I give para number 4 my phone to play the music. There's a lot going on. Okay. So one thing off my plate is definitely going to help. If you guys are not aware, I have ADHD. Like, it's very bad sometimes, especially in a chaotic environment. So there's so much going on. I give para number 4 the phone and I tell her, oh, yo, just sit in this chair right here, play the music for me, dot, dot, dot. Now, the thing is with the paras, right? The paras are only typically with the students throughout their academic classes. They don't typically stay for specials, and they don't really come for dance in this aspect or the sports-based sessions. So this time, this para more than likely didn't know that. And it doesn't really matter. I don't think it matters if they're there or not. Sometimes I've seen the pairs there. Sometimes I haven't. A lot of times they go on lunch at this time. But this was the pair's first day. Okay. So pair number 4 came to dance. I needed help with the music and basically classroom management. So I let her play the music. Now I need y'all to keep all of this in mind because I've mentioned it numerous times. But in order for you guys to understand the level of dysfunction that I was going through, the children do a lot. Okay. They're running around, they're play fighting, they're standing on top of windows, they're being like real rowdy most of the time. This is the dance class. There's music playing. They're doing all of that. And of course, I am alone. There is no Coach Keisha. There is no social worker. And most importantly, and most notably, there is no one in the athletic wing. Okay. There is no hall monitors there. For whatever reason, okay, like I said in my previous part, I already told y'all, I reached out to these people a few times about there not being anyone there and how I needed support. They didn't answer. Okay. Instead, they saw me in person and gaslighted me every single time, telling me, oh, you know, you're going to have someone. Oh, are you sure there's no one there? Oh, we'll make sure you have more support. And I never had that. I have kids climbing the window. I have kids play fighting. I have kids running around. I have kids walking out. I have kids doing everything. And all you hear is me on the walkie, like redirect such and such, redirect such and such, redirect such and such. And it's not really doing much of anything except taking away from class time and taking away from the kids that are actually there that actually want to dance. And they kept saying they would make sure someone was there. They would give me support, and they did not do so. Apparently, later on, I found out that apparently there's always supposed to be somebody in that athletic wing. They try to tell us that we need to tell them when there's not someone in the athletic wing so that they can handle it accordingly. They never handled it accordingly. Okay. A lot of us mentioned numerous times that there was never anyone in the athletic wing. This shit really bothers me. Okay. This shit right here, like it truly does bother me because this situation shouldn't have happened. All right. Again, this is before the whole situation that happened where I called the code with Catherine and Melissa. We're all in dance. I give pair number 4 my phone so she can play the music. As I am, you know, trying to run a piece, I think it was one of the, it was either for halftime or the Christmas thing, right? As she's playing the music for me, Heather walks back in and she's like, get up off my seat, yo. Now, all of you guys, especially the adults with sense that are watching this, are probably thinking, excuse me, what the fuck you mean get up out the chair? Yeah, because you don't talk to an adult like that. And that's obviously how Heather triggered pair number 4, because pair number 4 was like, you mean get about my chair? And I'm hearing the interaction, but I can't hear it clearly because again, this is a dance class. There's music playing. Okay. So the music is playing again. The kids are also loud and this is happening like right behind me, but it's like to the corner. It's like the corner, but it's behind me and they're going back and forth. All right. All I know is by the time the music stops playing, Heather walks out, slams the door. Okay. And she says, suck my dick. And I'm like, what the fuck? Now I'm just looking like, are you good? Like, what happened? And parent number 4 is like, I ain't worried about these kids. It's whatever. Like, I ain't worried about these kids. It is what it is. Now, by this time, music's playing again. Heather walks back in. They start going back and forth. All I know is I'm hearing like, again, suck my dick, shut the fuck up, get the fuck up out my chair. I was sitting there first, get the fuck up out my chair. And then all of a sudden the other kids, okay, the ones that wasn't actively participating, they get up and they're trying to basically get Heather away from the scene and get her away from the situation because they know how Heather can get. So this is one of my first interactions with Heather. It was just, again, there was so much going on. So they take her and they're like, we got this because she going, you know, she could get there. And literally all I hear is Heather talk about, I'll slap the shit out of you. Like, I'll slap the shit out of you to the para. Yes, to an adult. Okay, she say, I will slap the shit out of you to para number 4. Para number 4 is literally going right back and forth with her. This is the thing. And this is where I'm like, I personally don't think she cursed at her. I don't remember her cursing at Heather. Okay, but nonetheless, you said you were going to slap the shit out of her. I will never condone adults cursing at children. I don't give a fuck if it's your mom, your dad, your teacher, whatever. I do not condone adults cursing at children at any given circumstance. Unless it's something like, oh, sit your ass down, girl. Something like that. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But when you're sitting here cursing at children and y'all already know what I'm talking about. Okay. I personally don't remember her cursing at her. Okay. But I know for a fact Heather did say, I'll slap the shit out of you. Now the kids are like, oh, nah, she'll really slap the shit out of her. Let's get her out of here. They take Heather, they go downstairs to the Paris boss. Now we're going to get into her real quick. I don't know. We're just going to call her Miss Ebony. Okay. Now, Miss Ebony, I don't know nothing about her. I didn't have too many interactions with her. It was very high and by. But I will tell you, after this situation, I ain't really care for her because immediately, okay, after the situation happened, maybe about 3 to 4 minutes go by. I'm talking to the parent to get what happened from her perspective. She comes in and she's like, hi, coach, can I talk to you for a second? I go out the hall. I'm talking to her and she's like, oh, like there was a situation that happened. Can you tell me what happened from your perspective? I didn't like the tone. Like, so I started explaining it to her. She's like, okay, and she's interrupting me while I'm talking. Okay, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm teaching. There was a chair. Heather sat in the chair, got up. I'm just trying to understand why a code wasn't called. From part 1, part 2, part 3, from part 1 through 6, and TikTok on Instagram, you would know, I've said this millions of times, I have not been trained. I don't know shit about nothing. At this point, I don't know nothing about a code. I don't know nothing about what code is what. I don't know shit. Okay, and what really bothers me is Ebony is one of the longest standing staff in there. She should know that they don't fucking train niggas. Okay, granted, she's in an entire different department, but it's like, if I'm in a school for this long, I think I would understand the company culture and I would understand that niggas wasn't trained for real. And at this point, I'm only like week 2, week 3-ish. So I'm just sitting there like, yeah, personally, I didn't know that I had to call the code for that because it was de-escalated. Like now by after that point, I knew that you got to call a code for everything. But this is also the problem, right? And I think a lot of you guys have used common sense and you guys understand where I'm coming from. These students literally curse out the teachers, the staff, their peers all day, every day. And 90% of the time, a code is not called. That most of the time is like at least a code 3 or a code Z at this fucking point. So I'm just like, I really don't be knowing when to call a code and when not to call a code because some of y'all let shit slide and some of y'all don't. Some things seem to be more serious than the other. So personally, like I look at her and I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I really didn't know that was supposed to be a code. So she makes it a big deal. Now you got Janet coming to me saying nonsense. You got Keisha coming to me saying nonsense. You got whatever, like all these people like trying to, oh, well, like make sure next time you call a code, make sure. And that shit really pissed me off. It was not the first occurrence where I was obviously not trained. People expected me to just know things and do things. It was giving like very condescending and very like, well, bitch, like you should have known to call a code for this, or well, you should know that even though you wasn't trained. It was giving very like, I don't know, like a lot of it was very microaggressive and it was very irritating. Another example of this was the whole situation with the walkies, right? Now, these kids would obviously walk out all the time. And like I told you guys before, they were with adults. It's not like they're skipping and they're hiding in the hallway, they're hiding in the closet or whatever. These kids are skipping and they're with adults. And I told them this and I didn't get support. And they're like, okay, well, just tell us to redirect them on the walkie. They wouldn't get redirected. But then they would sit there on the walkie telling me to come get my kids. And eventually I stopped answering because now you're playing in my fucking face. I am an adult, but yet I am a teacher. I am a coach with children and I'm by myself. How am I going to come get these kids if I'm by myself? Oh my God, I'm starting to get upset. I apologize. I need to manage my emotions. Let me manage my emotions. Cause what? I'm like, and this is not the first time. It got to a point where I ended up snapping, okay? And I'll tell you about that in part 5. I ended up snapping because stop fucking telling me shit that I don't know. Like, I'm supposed to know it. And then, like, y'all out here, y'all got attitudes about shit. Like, the fuck? So, it became this running thing where they would come to me like, oh, you need to answer your walkie. Come get your walkie. Come get your kids. Da-da-da-da. They're calling you on the walkie. And it's like, if I'm on break, I'm not answering my walkie. If I'm teaching class, I'm not answering my walkie. If I'm doing a one-on-one with a student, I'm not answering my walkie. If I can't do anything about the fact that these kids are walking out, there's nothing I can do but redirect them. I already said that. There's no reason for me to be answering my walkie. I can't leave the kids. Stop talking to me, right? That whole situation happens. And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, I definitely did fuck around and find out who Heather was. And yeah, like I could see she goes from 0 to 1,000 extremely quick. So that entire situation led to para number 4 being moved. And I hated that for Catherine because Catherine actually really did like her. She was probably one of the very few that I've seen so far. So this is the second para that I'm on. Mind you, I'm on week 2, 3. This is the second para. Okay. And she had technically 2 after that. Right. And I never saw her build the bond as quickly with any of the other paras than she did with her. So I was very sad for Catherine and it really led her to being a little deregulated and really, really sad about it. So from this point on, I was spending way more time with Catherine because she did not have a para. Now, since Heather also had a para, right? You guys are probably wondering, like, where was Heather during all of this? Why wasn't she de-escalating? Again, the paras usually are not with us during dance or during lunch. And honestly, a lot of the other periods, they're only there for academic support for the most part. So she wasn't there. I told her about it after, and she was like, yeah, that's crazy, but I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. So she wasn't shocked about the situation. She's been with Heather for a minute, so she already knows how Heather is. Para number 4 ended up getting moved. And it's very weird because Heather was actually supposed to get suspended for this, but she did not. Okay. They initially told me she would be getting suspended for 2 days. And by the end of the day, she was no longer suspended. And then by the next day, she was suspended again. And then by the next day, now you guys are probably like, Yvana, what the fuck are you talking about? Exactly what I said is exactly what happened and exactly what my head was saying. What you guys are saying is what my head was saying. How the fuck is it that someone can threaten to slap the shit out of an adult? Okay. And honestly, I ain't gonna hold you. If it wasn't for those kids, okay, shout out to y'all stopping that situation, she probably would have really slapped the shit out of the parent. It would have been an entire situation. And I'm not saying that based off of like, oh my God, like, you know, like all these kids are like that. But no, Heather was actually like that. And she really probably would have slapped the shit out of her. My thing is, I don't understand how a child could threaten an adult like that and not get suspended at bare minimum. This entire situation, it took a week for them to deliberate what they were going to do with her because Heather was adamant that parent number 4 cussed her out. I didn't see that. Okay, I heard arguing. I don't remember the para cursing at her. She probably did, but I doubt it. I didn't hear it. Therefore, I'm not going to attest to it. Okay. And since she kept saying that the para cursed at her, that's why it was so hard for them to make a decision. It doesn't matter. She definitely did say she'll slap the shit out of her. Whether she cursed at her or not, that is a fact. I heard it. Everyone else heard it. That's why she was escorted out of the room. So I'm not really understanding what the confusion was with there, but she was trying to use that as an excuse. So I threatened to slap her because she cursed at me first. It's like, oh my God. Like, and Heather is like 18. I need y'all to understand. She's also 18. She probably shouldn't even be in this setting. She needs to just get a GED and be done with it. I don't know why she keeps coming to deal with this because every time she comes in, it's an issue. Every single time she comes in, like she's getting sent home early because she's crashing out or she's about to fight or she fought. And most of the time she gets 0 repercussions. And part of this is because of the IEP situations. I really feel like a lot of these IEPs need to be revisited. And additionally, IEP doesn't mean you get an excuse for everything. And a majority of these kids literally get away with everything. Revisiting the situation with Catherine and Melissa didn't even get suspended for throwing that bag. And that was a code 1. And it's crazy because they had me sitting on the meeting with her dad when that whole situation happened. And technically, it's crazy. They used to make fun of Catherine for having a para, saying she was slow and, oh, well, she dumb. That's why she got a para. Almost every single one of those kids technically should have a para. However, due to their lack of parent involvement, that's why they don't have one. That's literally why. Okay, due to their parents trying to make it seem as if it's an issue with having a para or it makes you look a certain way or the negative connotations with having one, that's why they don't have one. So I find it absolutely insane that a lot of them sit here and they make fun of Catherine when most of them should have a para. Like, be so for real. Literally in the meeting with Melissa, you know, they were alluding to the fact that maybe she needs one and stuff like that. Her dad was like, no, she don't need a pair. She don't need a pair. She needs a pair. She's one of the ones that walks out the most and she genuinely cannot help it. The rest of them, they just follow her. I'm not going to hold you. But Melissa, she should probably have more support. And I feel like if she had more support, she definitely would be a lot further because she's one of those children, like I said before, come to school every day, but failing. That is crazy. And a lot of it isn't her fault. A lot of it is things that she cannot help. So I think she would benefit from a para. And anytime I tried to speak in this meeting, I tried to whatever, she's like,
You don't even know anything. You just got here.
Disgusting attitude. So at that point, I'm not about to sit here and do all of this and try to build a relationship with a child that genuinely doesn't care for my existence. Now, I will say over time, it did get better, but still, like in general, her behavior and her attitude was literally one of the worst. All right. And it's crazy because like I said, she got away with that as well. She didn't get any real suspensions. If anything, I think they sent her home that day and then she was allowed to come back the next day. And then they had that meeting and then they sent her home after the meeting. So if they want to consider that a 2-day suspension, no, it wasn't. I still saw her face. She wasn't suspended. Okay. Catherine didn't get suspended either. I think mutual combat warrants suspension. So both of them should have been suspended for at least 2 days. But hey, it is what it is. Like personally, I feel like part of the reason these kids act like this is because they're allowed to. That's what it is. When you have 0 consequences and 0 repercussions for children's actions, they keep doing the same thing. That's a people thing. Okay. If you have a boyfriend that's cheating on you and you know about it, stay in the relationship, you don't address it, you don't give any repercussions, they're going to keep cheating on you. It's just human nature. Let people take an inch, they're going to take a mile. All right. So after that, like I said, I fucked around and found out. Okay. I found out who Heather was. And honestly, she didn't come to school too much. And it wasn't that big of a deal. And everything continued as was. Those are just very small examples of these kids not being held accountable for their behavior. This was something that I saw every freaking day. For example, now we get into the next part, the intervention. Honestly, the whole fact that there's interventions in certain school settings is crazy to me. I just think that we need to just hold the children accountable and a lot of these behaviors would be mitigated. But hey, what do I know, right? One particular day, if I'm not mistaken, nope, this, you know what? It's funny. This should have been in the last part, but I'm gonna tell you guys now because it goes into what I'm saying about how these kids never get held accountable, right? Samantha, right? Samantha, I actually really like Samantha. The only issue I have with Samantha is she's a follower. Everything Melissa do, she do because that's her bestie. But Samantha is very much so capable of not walking out, not acting out, not having an attitude, having better grades, but she chooses not to because she's besties with Melissa. I've told her numerous times, I'm not the only one. Everyone has told her numerous times, Melissa will be the end of you. She will be your downfall because you are very much so capable of doing the right thing and you choose not to. And of course, like I said, I wasn't the only one that's seen this. So one day we come into meeting and they're talking about interventions. And one of the children that is chosen for an intervention is Samantha. Now, unfortunately, the day they chose to do this intervention was the same day the kids were crashing out during their dress rehearsal. Like literally, it was all of this going on, right? With the dress rehearsal, they're crashing out, they're mad, everybody's having circles with them because they're upset because they look a mess. And then we literally get downstairs and they pull Samantha to have this intervention. One of the worst things they could have done. Now, me, I will say this is personally my fault. As a coach, I should have said, listen, they're already having a really bad morning. This is what happened during dress rehearsal. I think this should be moved to another day. However, the way they structured their interventions, they are with numerous staff members that more than likely wouldn't even have had another time to have this intervention because it's literally different teachers, different staff members from different departments. And they only had that time to meet with Samantha to talk about this, right? Now, let's put a pin in that, right? I need y'all to pay attention because this part right here is confusing and I'm still confused by it. And a lot of people are confused by it. And it also ties back into how they expected me to know shit and do shit, even though they didn't know what they were doing themselves. So on Thursdays, my team had an entire different schedule. Okay. And this is because one of the departments was not able to do their college readiness, whatever class at the time during their Uber period. Because of this, this is what they expected me to do. They wanted the kids to go from theater to weight room. Yes, they had weight room. I just didn't mention it because there wasn't much going on. I only had weight room with them like 3 times out of the 4 months I was there. That's another story for another time, which is not going to be told. Long story short, the schedule was always fucked up. So we almost never got weight room. I explained, this is hard to explain, right? They wanted the kids to go from their first period class to their Uber period, and their Uber period instead would be dance. So it'd be period 1, then dance. Now, obviously, it's not going to be an hour and a half. It's going to be about like 40 to 50 minutes, right? So they would do that. Then they would go to whatever their third period class was, and then they would have dance. Instead of having the full an hour and a half for dance, they wanted them to do 30 minutes of dance to then go to this college readiness situation. And however long that took, they would spend that time there and then go back to dance. If that sounds confusing, it's because it is. It's so fucking dumb. And I told them this is a really bad idea. It's already very difficult to move these kids and get them settled. You want me to move them to have dance twice in one day that aren't together, move them from this floor to that floor to that floor because they have a schedule conflict? Tell them to figure it the fuck out. Like literally, I was so irritated when they told me this. Yo, just so you guys understand, this was like never communicated to me. Like I was the last to know, as if I wasn't the one that's going to have to transport these kids. The only reason I found out about this was because one day I'm in dance and the teacher, okay, I don't remember if I gave her a name, but we'll just say the teacher just in case I give her one later on. She basically was like, oh, where are the kids? I've been waiting, da da da. Like, who are you talking to? Who are you, like, what that got to do with me? You've been waiting for the kids. Keep them in. I'm in dance. Like, where am I supposed to be? Like, I checked the schedule like 10 times at this point. I'm like, guys, excuse that skirt. It's part of a costume. I have a performance. But, yo, I'm like, where am I supposed to be? Oh, you have this at this time because of a schedule conflict, that. And I'm like, girl, then fucking say that. Don't hit me up on some, oh, where you at? I've been waiting. What the fuck that got to do with me? what's crazy about this is only a few people knew about this. Okay. Not everybody knew about this. So almost every single time I'm moving these kids so they can go to class, to go back to dance, to go to class, to go to like, everybody's like, where are they going? Where's this one going? Da, da, da. And this is the thing. I'm with the class, but obviously a lot of these kids, like I said, have a propensity to roam and I have no support. So you got this kid going here, this kid talks, oh, I'm going to the dean. Oh, I'm going to the CAF. Oh, I got to go get my jacket in this classroom as I'm moving them because this is the opportunity to do what they want at this point because I'm moving them around. So now you got hall monitors and deans like, oh, where are they going? Why are they going here? Oh, why they got this? Da, da, da. And I'm trying to explain it to them and it sounds fucking stupid. It even got to a point where literally I was absent and Coach Keisha was with the kids for the day and I was absent on a Thursday because I had a doctor's appointment. And I'm explaining to her like, oh, I forgot to tell you it's Thursday. This is their schedule. And she's like, that sounds so fucking dumb. It even got to the point where she was explaining it to other people and other people came to me telling me that she was talking shit about me when she wasn't talking shit about me. She was talking shit about the schedule. It sounds stupid. Like it sounds stupid and it doesn't make sense and no one knew about it. So you got people asking her like, what do you mean the kids have like dance during Uber and then during this, whatever. It just sounded so fucking dumb. That day that whole fiasco dress rehearsal happened, a Thursday. So it's the day of this fucked up flip schedule. So all of this shit is happening. Okay. The kids are crashing out. They are deregulated from this dumb ass schedule that they have every Thursday. And now they go and they post Samantha. Okay, for this fucking intervention. At this point, I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, I'll tell you, this was a rough day. This was a rough day. So they go, they pull Samantha. They're talking to her about how she's a great person and how, like, you know, she can do better. Basically, everything I just told you guys, right? And the entire time, you have the college readiness teacher there, okay? Because why? She's setting up for the class. Now, I personally can't remember if it was before or after, but let me just tell you right now, these kids were insanely disrespectful to her that day because they really wanted to dance and they really needed to dance because they really needed to fix their dance because their dance looked horrible. Refer back to the last part. What were they doing when we were in rehearsal? Playing around. What did they do when we were in class? Playing around. So now it's time for college readiness class. Okay? I don't want to hear nothing about it. We go to this college readiness class. They're like, oh my God, we gotta go. I don't want to be here. This is some bullshit. We need to practice. We need to die. Disrespectful. Fuck this shit. Da, da, da. Melissa literally takes it upon herself to go missing. She went full blown miss. We couldn't find her for the entire class period. I was so fucking mad this day because it's like, what is up with y'all, bro? How, like, the complete lack of accountability with these kids. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, they were all just walking out, leaving, whatever. It took us the entire period to find all of them. Melissa, I think we finally found her after the class period. And yeah, so they were extremely disrespectful to this teacher. So she happens to be in the class while the intervention is happening. They tell her she can chime in. This is probably like not the smartest idea, right? They're like, oh, you know, we know that you work with her, you know, feel free to add anything. Now, by work with her, basically they mean she has an internship with that particular department, right? And this is the thing. This school has a lot of imaginary shit going on. This is how I see it. And this is a theory. This is based on my personal opinion. I think that these kids are not going to have a choice once they graduate, and their only choice is going to be to work for this broken, fucked up system. I'm not even going to hold you. This is the only way any of these kids are going to really do much of anything in life is if they actually get into college or they come back to work at this school. For you guys to have leagues, right? Sports where the schools play each other, not outsiders, that does nothing for them, especially for the kids that actually know how to play. The kids that actually know how to like play basketball and volleyball and know how to dance. Ain't no competitions. Ain't no scouts coming to their games. There's no spectators, by the way. So outsiders are not allowed to come to these games. It's literally all enclosed. And now we have enclosed internships. What the fuck is an intern? I hate to say it, but an internship with staff in the school, what does that do? Like, I'm just saying, I feel like they built an ecosystem to where they can graduate these kids with fake ass grades and fake ass credentials or whatever. And then they get funneled right back into the system because there's already some people that work there that actually did graduate from that school. And it's like, it's very interesting because it shows, not all of them, you know, are, you know, crazy ghetto, whatever. It's funny because the two that I actually talked to, whatever, cool as hell, nice as hell, great people. But in a general sense, you guys understand where I'm coming from. Like, I hope I explained that correctly. They have this intervention. They're talking to her. And obviously because of the day that has already been had, because of the disrespect that they already showed to basically one of her bosses, because of the disrespect that they showed to the entire building and the fact that they look a mess, she's not in the mood. So she's just deadpan. She's deadpan. She's just like, just sitting there. Now, when it gets to the ladies' turn, you know, they're like, oh, you know, like, you know, we know that you have your internship with her. Feel free to chime in. Child, why the fuck Samantha gonna say, I don't give a fuck? Y'all keep holding this internship over my head. Y'all could take that shit away. At this point, I'm just like, oh my God. At this point, that's when I'm like, honestly, I don't think this is the right day to do this. They actually had a really long day. And they're like, no, but like, we really need to talk to her about this because we know you can do better. She's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, she like, I don't give a fuck. Like, stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. I'm allowed to feel how I feel. Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. Stop. I don't want to do this right now. Like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, she's really about to crash out. I was like, all right, can we go? Like, I was like, can we go? Because this is a lot. So they keep talking. I kid you not. They keep going with this intervention. They keep trying to like, and I'm like, this is not going to get received. This is not going to get received well at all. So I was like, can we please cut this short? Because at this point it's a lunchtime. And she's like, honestly, I think she walked out. I tried to calm her down. It was just, it was a nightmare. It was a real nightmare. And honestly, you know, I ended up speaking to the college readiness teacher and she was just like, honestly, I'm very upset. Okay. I'm upset about how they treated me. I'm upset that, you know, she acted like that towards me and we work with each other every day. I'm upset. Like, you know, she's just venting. I said, honestly, take the internship away. She doesn't need it. Like, if she's going to act like that, she needs to have repercussions for her actions. Like, it's called accountability. Like, she needs to be accountable. They don't like the word discipline. Okay. So she has to be accountable. And she's like, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. Da, da, da. You know, I thought she was really about to do something. She kept that internship, y'all. Another example of how these kids just be doing whatever the fuck it is that they want. All right. They do what they want to whoever they want. And that's why they act like that. A lot of it isn't really chalked up to, oh, trauma and mental illness. Yes, that's part of it. But mentally ill, IEPs, all of these situations has absolutely nothing to do with being a dick and having lack of discipline and lack of accountability and lack of consequence and lack of repercussions. If you keep letting someone do something, they're going to continue to do it. It's basic common sense. It's basic science. So I genuinely don't understand why they keep trying to make excuses for these students. Performance goes on. We have a much needed Christmas break and then we come back. I happened to be out 2 days that week, okay? Specifically because the day we came back was my birthday. I was never going to suffer with those people on my birthday. Absolutely not. I put in that day a whole month in advance. But apparently that was a blackout day. So they were like, hey, try not to call out on blackout days. Da, da, da. I didn't know nothing about a blackout date. Y'all don't know nothing about a blackout date. So let me tell you about a blackout date. Blackout dates are practically the days before and after break, okay? Or any day that we have off. So Martin Luther King Day would usually fall on a Monday, so you wouldn't be able to call out that Friday, right? It was very interesting because I didn't really understand how that shit worked. I felt like personally the way it was told to me, it was usually breaks, right? It was usually like, oh, you can't call out before a break. Not necessarily days that you have off, but apparently all those fall under blackout days. Now you guys are probably sitting here thinking like, Yvana, why didn't they just give you a calendar? How did you not know this, bitch? Because there was no real calendar. And then it was different rules for different fools. I ended up having to not go to work that Thursday. Mind you, I put this in like literally like around the time I got hired. Like at least by first week of December, they knew I'm not going to be here the 5th and I'm not going to be here. I think it was the 7th. They knew this. Okay. 1, it's my birthday. 2, I had a much needed doctor's appointment and I scheduled it months in advance. And it was a specialist appointment. Literally the next appointment wouldn't be till June. So it was one of those things where I had to go to that appointment, right? Then I ended up calling out the day before Martin Luther King Day, right? So I think it was either that Thursday or Friday. I ended up not going to work, right? Now, it's funny because like I said, there was never any calendar or anything given to us that told us blackout day, blackout, whatever. Keep in mind, if they did give us one, right? If they did send one in or send like a document that said it, they would change it around. It was one of those like documents where you can edit it and things would be edited in and things would be edited out, right? So why the fuck? Okay, I get called into a meeting, right? Talking about my attendance because I missed 3 days out of the 4 months, and that's a lot for a new hire. Now, you guys are probably curious as to why I called out the 3rd day. I called out the 3rd day because I was mentally exhausted, and most importantly, my asthma was acting up. Like, my asthma was really, really bad, and I could not understand why. At first, I thought it was stress, then I thought it was my anxiety, but then that's when I realized I think it's the fucking weather. Okay, I think it's the weather because it's so fucking cold. Like, y'all already know we had a very cold winter. We had snowstorms. We had all of that. It's already like 8 degrees, 10 degrees, 12 degrees. And then I'm coming into a building that's cold as fuck, that don't got heat. My office don't got heat. I barely have a desk to sit at. When I sit at the desk, the heat is not on. I turn the heater on. It takes hours for the room to get warm. I'm in the dance room, in the cafeteria. That's the only warm space. Other than that, the halls are cold. The classes are cold. My office is cold. I'm freezing. So my asthma was acting up really bad. That's why I called out that day. I don't know how I forgot this part, but this meeting definitely took place right before break because I remember she was telling me if I can reschedule my specialist appointment because I'd be missing 2 days in 1 week. And it's like, I don't care. I already told y'all that right when I got hired. Like, low key, high key, like, it is what it is. I cannot reschedule it. The next one's going to be in June. It's like, oh no, but please, try. And like, you're too young to be having these issues. Like, wow, I didn't know. Like, it was weird. So my appointment was like for like a gastro. Yeah, it was a gastroenterology thing. She's like, wow, like you have problems going to the bathroom? Like, you're a little young to be having problems going to the bathroom. Like, bitch, nobody asked you. Like, low key, like that shit. Listen, I didn't have a problem with Principal Click Clack, but that shit was off-putting. I explained all of this to them, right? Principal Click Clack and Janet tell me I can wear my hoodie if I'm cold. There were times where my parents didn't pay the bills, and I lived with no heat. Y'all already know, if you've ever been through that, you would know having no heat is completely different from just being cold in your fucking house. If you have no heat, it's a special type of cold. Wearing a hoodie ain't gonna help. There were staff members and students walking around with fucking blankets on. That's how cold the building was. So don't tell me to wear no goddamn hoodie, especially when you have a no hoodie policy. Okay, I already told you guys, a lot of these people didn't like the principal because she tried to instill rules that didn't make sense to them, such as not wearing hoodies. And a lot of them had this rebuttal of, oh, well, these kids are insecure. They need their hoodies, da, 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 da. Or, well, it's cold in the building. It's cold in the building was valid. But you guys need to understand that this shit sounds stupid. You have an entire policy of no hoodies that you tried to instill that everyone doesn't hate. And now you're telling me, instead of fixing the heat, oh, just wear a hoodie. Now you got me fucked up. Now you done pissed me off. Like, I was like, you know what? That's annoying. I understand. But at the same time, I don't. But whatever. I took it on the chin. I ain't say nothing about it, right? And what really pissed me off wasn't even the fact of the heat and the hoodie thing. It was the fact that they had the nerve audacity to tell me that I called out twice in a blackout week. What's a blackout week? Exactly what you guys are asking me is exactly what the fuck I'm telling myself. Like, I've never heard of blackout week. I've heard of blackout days. Oh, well, no, that's entire week is a blackout week because we need to ensure that when the kids come back, everyone, is at their posts and everyone's in. And I'm just sitting there like, now y'all just making shit up. Now y'all, blackout week, go to fucking hell. Like, in my mind, I'm just like, now y'all got me fucked up. Blackout week, okay, yeah, sure. Whatever. So they're like, yeah, we're not going to write you up or whatever. We just want to make you aware of your attendance. But other than that, like, here every day on time, blah, blah, all this bullshit. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I don't care about what you're talking about. Like, if you're not going to write me up, I don't see what you're talking to me about. Like, and that's the thing. I've never been written up ever. Okay. From any job until the job that I have now. They try to write me up for some bullshit. Anyhow, that's not the point, but they didn't write me up or anything, so I didn't see why they were wasting my time with this meeting. So now we have Regents Week. When I'm telling you, this is the week where I realized, Yvana, you don't need this. Yvana, why the fuck are you here? Yvana, you're the shit. You don't need this place. Now, let me just say, this is where I woke up from the reality that I was living. This is where I said, Yvana, you do not need to be here. You need to quit. This is not a regular place, and what you're feeling is not normal. Now, what's crazy is by this point, my man actually had to sit me down and tell me that I was changing and he didn't like it because I was just so damn sad and I was so damn depressed. And he don't know why I'm suffering myself out by working at this school because I have too much going for myself. Yeah, so the thing is with my man, he's a man of very few words. And he also is like, he's never had to have a conversation with me like that before. So I really kind of was like sitting there thinking, soul searching, like, damn, like, I really don't like this place. I don't like anything about it. Like, I can't really even name anything positive about it. And I feel bad that I can't, okay? Shit, I have no heat. Like, literally, like, I'm going to school and I'm freezing. My asthma's acting up. I don't want to be there. It's like pulling teeth to even get myself out of bed. Like, I felt horrible. Like, I felt so horrible every single day. And I was really sick and tired of feeling like that. And it was starting to translate into my relationships, both my romantic one as well as my friendships. Like, I stopped showing up. Like, I think I was barely seeing my parents at the time. Like, it was so bad. So it was like, honestly, yeah, I need to do some soul searching, right? But one thing about the ancestors, one thing about God, he's always going to deliver. Okay. If I need a message, if I ask for a sign, it will be delivered immediately. Like literally within the next few hours to the next few days, I will get the sign that I asked for. So I was like, you know what? Give me a sign that I ain't supposed to be here no more. Let me know. Like, is this wrong? Like, should I still keep trying with these kids? Should I still keep trying with this school? Like, even though I knew this was possibly the worst school that I've been at, I was like, you know what? I need a sign. I'm always asking these spirits for signs, and I know they're very sick of me. So I said it, I prayed and I was like, yo, give me a sign. So the thing is with regents at this school, and I'm beginning to think a lot of schools do this, and it's extremely problematic, and it's part of the reason these kids don't know shit and they're graduating and they can't survive. They let the teachers in the building grade the regents. Again, I think other schools do this as well, but the fact that y'all doing it at this school where these kids cannot comprehend, read, self-regulate, or do anything for themselves, the least you can do is make sure their standardized tests are given a fair fucking chance. Like, to have math teachers grading math regents is crazy. To have any teachers grading the students in which they teach is crazy. I think it's insane. Back in my day, okay, when we were doing tests, it was outsiders. Like, we took the test and we mailed it out, and it went through a Scantron. Nowadays, apparently, it's teachers in the schools grading these tests, and it's like, that's why these kids don't fucking know shit and they keep getting passed along. And I'm not trying to say all teachers are biased, right? I'm not trying to say like a majority of teachers would do the wrong thing or not try to do the right thing. But I'm saying a lot of people in general, because we are people, have biases, right? We have biases, and a lot of us might be like, oh, okay, I understand what she was trying to write in that open-ended, even though it's grammatically incorrect and I don't understand any of it, and the average person wouldn't understand it. But I love the student. I know what she means. Let me give her that point. I think that's a problem. I think a lot of you guys watching this might also think it's a problem. But since I know there's a lot of people watching this who are trying to find something wrong in what I'm saying, hi, bitch. It is a problem. It doesn't really make sense how y'all think that's a fair way to test these kids. Like, at least if it's going to be a standardized test, let it be a real standardized test with inside people grading. And of course, if it's inside people grading, it's also inside people administering the test. I need to move to Japan where people take education seriously. These shits are supposed to be graded by New York State certified teachers. That's a fucking joke, because 90% of the teachers in this building are not certified. Oh my God. And it's not even just that. It's most of these charters specifically, and the private schools. And y'all, please be involved in your children's education by finding out their teachers' credentials. Especially when it's math, English, etc. Are you joking? This shit just pissed me off. Like, I don't know why I never thought to look it up, because it was like, anytime I've been at other schools and stuff, I'm thinking the tests are being graded by other people. I don't remember our staff doing that until this school I've been at, where I'm like, oh, all the teachers are conjured up trying to grade these things and all that. And I'm like, why are y'all grading it? Y'all barely qualified to be here. Let me stop. Honestly. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, teachers and coaches administered the test. And this was probably one of the worst weeks in terms of that, because it was great that we didn't have to, do standard school shit, but we were still there the entire day. They required us to come in at the same time and leave at the same time. A lot of us had to leave later because some of the kids had extended testing. Real ridiculous. This is where God gave me the sign that I asked for. I was scheduled to proctor on a Monday morning early. Like, I think it was like 9 o'clock or something. Had to be there by 8:30. And I decided to drive to make sure I would get there on time. I decided to drive from my man's house because my man lives in Elizabeth. We both grew up in Elizabeth. He stayed there. I currently live in East Orange. It is a little bit closer to get to Brooklyn from Elizabeth because of the Gothels, Verrazano, etc. So I woke up super early, earlier than I ever would, to start driving. As I start driving, since there's snow on the ground and I guess something punctured my tire went out completely, as displayed on the picture right here on the screen. Literally, my tire practically fell off of the rim, okay? I text these fuckers and I'm sorry, manage your emotions. I text these people and I say, hey, this is what happened. Sent the picture and everything. Instead of, how are you doing? Are you okay? Please be safe. I get it. Well, we got you scheduled to proctor at 9 or whatever time it was. That was nail in the coffin number 1,000. But I gave myself a clean slate after I asked the Lord for an answer. So that was nail in the coffin number 1. And that's extremely concerning. At least fake the shit. Because if I would have got a little bit of concern, shit wouldn't have spiraled the way it did. Because that shit ticked me off so bad. Like, are you serious? I'm like, you know what? I took it on the chin. Okay? I took it on the chin. NYPD shows up. I got to get a tow. I go to the nearest tire shop in Brooklyn, pay double what I would have paid in Jersey for a fucking tire. Better yet, shit, they told me another tire was punctured too. I get 2 tires. I spent over $400 that day on tires. Okay. At this point, they're done with the car, whatever. I'm about to start driving. I text them, I'm like, hey, I'll let you know what my ETA is. Dot, dot, dot. I don't remember. The messages are on the screen. Okay. Why are they going to say send proof from the mechanic? I'm trying my hardest not to get pissed off again, but if I send you a photo of my tire practically coming off the rim, you don't even care to ask how I'm doing. And I let that slide. And your next disrespectful response is send proof from the mechanic. You gotta be on some very heavy substances to think that I'm staying after that. That was genuinely the sign, okay, that I asked for from God, that I needed to get the hell up out of there because they had too much audacity to say that. Too much audacity. And the thing is, it wasn't even all of them. It was a specific person, Janet. And that's part of the reason I don't fuck with Janet. After that, I steered clear from her. I stopped kikiing with her. I stopped having impromptu check-ins with her because you're disrespectful. You don't care about me. I don't care about you. Now, for those of you guys who know anything about working your real job, you would know they're not even allowed to ask for documentation of anything regarding any of your absences unless it's past a certain point. Okay, if you didn't know, now you know. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is I fucking showed you the photo of my tire and I could have died. I was literally on this Verrazano. There's ice and there's snow and my tire gave out like that in the middle of the fucking highway. And instead of caring, you're asking me for documentation. Like, let's be so fucking for real. Like, let's be so fucking like that shit. Oh my God. I never been so mad in my life. Okay, whatever. Drive to the school, get there. I proctor the second session because I got there way too late for the first session. And everything goes okay that day. I had a group of like seniors, junior seniors, like lead 3 kids. They were fine. They were chill. The test went on without a hitch. Next day, I actually had a free day. I was so happy because I had a lot of work to do. I had to get all my lesson plans in order. If you guys are not remembering, I had to do dance lesson plans, health lesson plans, and circle lesson plans every single week. Yes, it was a lot. For those of you guys who are watching this, who are teachers who didn't know, and y'all like to sit there and be like, oh, coaches don't do shit. Coaches just be chilling. No, we don't, actually. We still have to do these lesson plans just like you. And instead of doing one for, you know, basically the entire league, because let's be real, y'all really don't get to teach anything and it's not your fault, but y'all really don't be teaching shit because these kids refuse to learn and all you're doing is administering packets. We have to do 3 lesson plans. Yeah. So it's very annoying. Had to do that. I had a lot of things to do. I had to call parents for certain things. It was like, we, at that time, I think it was progress report time. So there were certain parents I had to call. Luckily, this was the first time they didn't give us too much work. We only had to call the kids that were basically like on honor roll. They called it something else, but these were honor roll students. So we as coaches, we had to call the honor roll students. Kids that were failing specific classes, those teachers had to call those students. And then the ones that had like, there were students that were just like failing, period. They had to be, those parents were called by like the college readiness success people. So I didn't have too much to do on that front, but I had a lot of other work. Like I had to input grades because it was progress report time. They wanted us to input comments for each of the students. Yes, there you go. They wanted us to input comments for each of the students, like basically like, you know, that little blurb at the end of the report card or whatever. They wanted us to do that. Now I did one for every single one of my kids. And specifically for dance, I was very specific, especially when it came to the kids whose grades dropped because they genuinely didn't have a dance teacher for 5 months and they were just getting graded. Like literally Keisha just gave them all 4s if they got up and danced. And no, if you didn't do shit, you're getting a 0. If you walked out for a majority of the class, you're getting a 0. If you were cursing me out instead of stretching, you're getting a 0. Like, what are you actually talking about? So a lot of their grades went from A to F real quick because if you're not doing anything, you're getting a 0. Okay. So I had to go back, do the grades. I had a lot to do that day. Now I took that time to do that. Some of the other coaches took the time to actually sit down and do their work. All of the teachers were locked in, calling parents, doing lesson plans and stuff. And I know this because I was with all the teachers. I didn't spend any time with any of the coaches at this time. Now, what's interesting is the only coach I would have spent time with at this time was actually sick. We're going to call her Coach. We mentioned her, Coach Danielle. Okay. Coach Danielle was sick. So I wasn't hanging out with her. I couldn't hang out with her. She wasn't there. So I was hanging out with the teachers. They're doing their work. I'm doing my work. What are the other coaches doing? I want you guys to pause the video right now and comment down below to tell me, what do you think the other coaches is doing? Okay. Now, while you guys Type down below what you guys think the coaches are doing. While I was administering, okay, while I was proctoring the test that Monday, right? Now we're in Tuesday. The day prior, these coaches, the social worker, a lot of other staff spent the time in the hallway playing around, laughing, telling stories, gallivanting in the halls, not doing shit. To the point where numerous times, me, and I was actually proctoring with Miss A that day, okay? Me and Miss A had to go in the hallway like, hey guys, can y'all keep it down? Hey guys, can y'all be quiet? And the responses are, oh, y'all can hear us? That's why we're telling you to keep it down. Because why do you think that it makes sense to be gallivanting in the halls, being loud, doing the most, while children are testing in the classrooms? And the wall's already thin, and it's a hallway. And the thing is, with that particular door, okay, the door in the classroom that we were at, it couldn't close completely because it had an issue, to the point where, like, if you closed it, you would get locked in. Like I said, there's so many things I didn't mention. Okay, the fact that you have doors in the building that can't close or you'll get locked in is a fire hazard. And you guys are probably like, oh, it's just one door. No, bitch. Every single door on that league was fucked up with the exception of maybe two. There's been times I came in the morning, we couldn't open certain classroom doors, and we all sat there and pitched in trying to open a door for a teacher because their door is fucked up. Almost every single door in that league was messed up. So it's like, y'all want to get mad about me doing these videos? I didn't even fucking say nothing for real. I didn't really say nothing. Y'all are literally operating in a building that y'all don't own, in which they're trying to kick you out every single day, and y'all can't even do the bare minimum of taking care of the building and taking care of the doors and taking care of the kids. Don't play with me. Cause it could really get there. Like, it could really, really get there, but I'm not gonna do that. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. So we can't close the door. They're being loud in the halls. They're doing the most. Tuesday, same situation. There's a lot of the coaches just roaming around. They're playing around. They're playing ball in the gym. They're in the weight room. Well, I was one of the deans, and it's so funny because it's the audacity. I've heard a lot about this dean since I've been out here posting my videos. All these deans dumb upset about my videos. I don't care. Respectfully, I don't care. One of the main ones, these deans was out shooting in the gym, working out, changing their clothes to go work out in the weight room. This is why I'm just like, yo, like, y'all mad about what I'm saying, and everything I've said was true to my personal experience. There's a lot of things that I could mention that will make all of you look horrible. Like, there's a lot of things that I could mention that will literally shake your life up. So I need y'all to tread lightly, because I've never been the one. I've never been the one. These coaches sat here literally doing everything but lesson planning, doing anything but doing grades or whatever the case may be. Okay, so much so that we all got reprimanded for it at the end of the day. Janet called us all in to have a meeting at the end of the day, talking about how none of us were doing what we were supposed to do. Apparently, the athletic director needed help organizing the closet. Only a few people came to do it. I wasn't doing that shit. I don't give a fuck. It wasn't fucked up when I was there. I'm not doing it now. And a lot of you guys might be looking at me like, bitch, what are you talking about? Like, you know, if they told you to do something, that's your job. That's not my job. I'm sorry. Let's not. Nobody told me nothing about organizing no closets. The fuck I look like? What is this, HGTV? They're just, yo, I'm telling you, Janet was upset. She was upset, and rightfully so, because literally all of the coaches just sat there gallivanting all day for the most part. It was only maybe 2 or 3 of us that actually sat down and did work. And I'm being very generous because personally, I was the only one that I saw doing work the entire day. But I'm going to say maybe 2 to 3 of us because I'm very sure there were other coaches that actually sat there and did the work. But for the most part, they spent the time shooting hoops in the weight room, gallivanting in the halls, laughing, kikiing, hiding in other people's offices or whatever, and avoiding any type of responsibility for anything. I did my work. Okay. I did what I was supposed to do. And like I said, I never hung out with the coaches, right? So after this entire reprimandation, okay, Janet announces that we're going to be having training in the building later on that week with other youth development departments, okay? They said the other schools were going to be coming to our school for training. And basically she was saying that she kind of was going to try to give us a break and let it be virtual, but because nobody was doing their job, we all got to come in for this training. It was insane. It was really funny because like the way she was talking, it was just like, I know she ain't talking to me, but it was just like the attitude of it. Like it was the way that she was talking that like rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way, but I completely understood because y'all really didn't do shit. Y'all showed y'all ass. Like y'all was doing the most. Y'all were making noise. Y'all were disturbing the kids while they were testing. And yeah, like shit, when we do that or when everybody else does that, it makes everybody look bad. So she's like, yeah, so now we're all gonna come in on Friday and we're all gonna be happy about it. We're not going to spend time hanging out with the teachers. I felt like it was a direct shot at me. Okay, I felt like it was a direct shot at me because nobody else hangs out with the teachers as much as I did, except for maybe Coach Danielle, but not even at that. Like, I spent a lot of time with the teachers. So she's like, we're not going to be hanging out with the teachers. We're going to hang out with our other youth development staff. You know, we're going to be hanging out with our people during lunch. We're going to be welcoming the people that came to our school to see us, and we're going to enjoy this training. Girl, I stopped tuning in after she said I can't hang out with the teachers because the fuck you talk about? You're not going to tell me how I can spend my lunch. That is fucking nuts. If I don't want to sit with people, I will not. If I want to go spend my lunch walking around the corner, I will. Like, if I want to spend my like, that shit was crazy to me. I'm like, you're not going to tell me how to spend my lunch. That's crazy. And everybody had the same sentiment of, girl, bye. Like, you're not about to be telling us how we could spend our free time. So basically, yeah. So anyhow, she's basically saying all that. Everybody's annoyed. Everybody's like, yo, like, what the fuck? Like, what is she mad at? Da, da, da. You already know. Just like the kids, the adults also lack accountability. So everybody's like, oh, she tripping. She doing too much. She, da, 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 da. I'm like, she's actually not tripping. I don't like the fact that I had to sit in there knowing I was doing work, but whatever. Now, you guys are probably like, well, if she wasn't talking to you, then why are you upset? Nail in the coffin, number 2. We're going to pause right here, right? Like I said, I spent the entire day mainly with teachers doing my work and putting my grades and putting my comments. I submitted everything by the end of that day. I got a message back from, what did I name him? Caleb. Because apparently he handles the grade things. So Caleb was like, oh, you need to remove the comments for all the good grades. I literally sat there and I put a comment for every single student for every single class. Okay. So it was about 2 or 3 classes. And he told me to remove all the good ones. And that's what I did. I sat there that day removing all the good ones. Okay. Like it was actually freaking irritating because I'm like, bro, I feel like kids need encouragement just like they need whatever, but hey, that's your rules, whatever. I get an email that same day from Janet talking about some, what did you do all day? I hope I find this email. I probably won't because I don't have access to the email and I personally don't remember like screenshotting it, but I do remember talking about this situation to a few people, so I might be able to find it. If I find it, I'll put it on the screen. But the email consisted of basically like, what did you do all day? Because I didn't see you in the office with the other coaches. I don't talk to them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't even want to talk to you. You see my work is submitted. Better yet, why don't you go ask Caleb if my work was submitted? Because she tried to follow it up with, oh, like, make sure you have all your grades in or whatever because da 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 da. He needs it. Like, I need. I hope I find the email. But that shit blew me. Because are you fucking dumb? You have all these niggas gallivanting. You gonna try to put me in the gallivantees? I'm not a gallivantee, nigga. I was doing my motherfucking work. The crazy part about it is any downtime I had in that place, I could have spent it editing, and I never did that. I never did that. I never edited a YouTube video, never edited a reel, a TikTok, nothing on that fucking job because I didn't have the time. I was actually doing my work. I was actually tired. Whew, I'm getting heated. I'm actually getting like, manage your emotions. Yo, like, oh my God. Like, one thing about me, respect is not optional. You don't have to like me or whatever. You can think whatever, but you're not going to disrespect me and you're not going to play in my face and you're not going to gaslight me because those are that's a surefire way to get me to fucking blow up on your ass. Like, I don't play that shit with nobody. So I sent my response. I was just like, listen, you could check in with Caleb. I sent in my work. I spent the whole day doing this. I was here. I don't remember. I hope I find the response. So basically, I was like, yeah, like I did my work. Go check it before you come check me because then I'm gonna have to check you. That's basically what I said. And from that point on, again, I stopped caring about her. I was just like, yeah, I'm deaf off you because you really just tried to play in my face right now. So whatever. Fast forward, we have the final day of Regents. Okay, Regents was 3 days this go around, and I believe it's Wednesday. And I'm supposed to proctor with another teacher. Now, the thing is, this teacher is almost always on time. Okay, I see them every day coming off the train because we both live in Jersey. So I was a little confused when I didn't see him come off the train. I didn't see him that morning. I didn't see him in the halls, and I had to go pick up the materials for the test. Now, I pick up the materials for the test, and I tell them like, hey, I know I'm supposed to be proctoring with this teacher, but the teacher's not here. And they're like, oh, don't worry. He should be here. He's always on time. At this point, there's 20 minutes till the kids come in to take the test. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think he's coming. They're like, oh, no, just wait a little bit. He's probably just a little late. I'm like, so they're like, oh, yeah, no, don't worry. He's going to be here. He's never late. 5 minutes pass, no teacher. 10 minutes pass, no teacher. At this point, the kids are going to walk in at any minute. To top it off, I go to the class. There were supposed to be 25 kids testing in that room. Oh, there's no space. The classroom's too small. There's only like 19 seats. Oh, well, don't worry. Half the kids aren't going to show up anyway for the test. I look at my roster. A majority of it is my kids. I told you, my kids come to school. They just don't do shit. So I'm like, oh no, my kids are coming for this test. There's going to be at least, like, I'm at least going to be missing like 4 chairs. So we need to move this room. Oh no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I was like, oh my God. If you guys tell me not to worry about it one more time, I'm going to crash out. The teacher I'm supposed to be proctoring with is not here. And the classroom is too small. This is going to be a disaster. And then, like, you know, like the kids should have their entire time to test. And if it doesn't start at a certain time, that's all the shit that goes into it. So I'm like, bro, like this needs to be handled ASAP. Like this can't be, like, come on. They switched classrooms. By this point, it's only a few minutes left. So I had to get all the papers. I had spread out all the papers because it wasn't desk. It was like long tables in that particular classroom. So I had to pick up all the papers and go to another classroom, right? By the time I get to this classroom, I'm peeking in the hallway and I tell one of the hall monitors, like, yo, whoever's supposed to be proctoring with me is not here. So I'm going to have to start this test by myself. By this point, the kids are starting to come up, right? The kids sit down. I give them the test. I'm doing everything from the little bit of training they did give us during the meeting. And I'm not even talking about training. I'm talking about they glazed over it. Okay. And they made us do like a little role play situation where one of us was the proctor. Everybody else was the student. And then there was a co-proctor. And we kind of acted out the situation, but that was not training. Okay. So I figured it out as best as I could. There was instructions on the paper. I made sure I read it. I ministered the test all by myself, honestly. And you guys are probably like, Yvana, what? You are proctoring by yourself? For those guys who are educators, you are probably sitting there like, nigga, what? Now, the thing is with the proctoring situation is it's extremely difficult because you have to sit there and do nothing. We were not allowed to have our phones, no tablets, no book, no materials, no nothing. We had to go in there with ourselves. We had to literally turn our phone in when we got the material. Kids obviously get their phones collected at the door. So like literally it's so boring. It's literally just silent for 3 to 4 hours and you're sitting there administering this test, answering questions, making sure the kids sign their name on top of the whatever. Like it's very boring. About 15 to 20 minutes into the test, the principal walked by, okay? Principal Click Clack comes by and she looks into my classroom and she's like, you administering the test by yourself? Mind you, it's fucking quiet. The kids are trying to test. So she's loud. Okay. She's like, oh, you tested by yourself. I'm like, yes. I was supposed to proctor with such and such. He's not here. Later on, I found out he had a family emergency, right? So I was like, yeah, he's not here. She was like, oh, yeah, like he's not here today. Like, okay, you're not supposed to be proctoring by yourself. So she leaves, goes down the hall, and I guess somebody else was proctoring by themselves too. So she's like on the walkie. Mind you can hear this because it's loud. Okay. Now, luckily for me, my door closed. I was able to have my door closed, but I could still hear her. And she's like, Coach R and such are proctoring by themselves. I need someone down here ASAP. I'm like, bro, at this point, it doesn't even matter. I already started the test. Like, I don't really need anyone in here with me, but whatever. They end up sending a dean. He didn't know much about anything. He didn't know shit about the test. I thought we all did the same fake ass training, but I guess not. Every single time one of the kids asks me something, he's asking me, and I'm just like, bro, and it's basic shit. Do they have to put their name here? Do they have to write like this? Do they use pen or pencil? Basic shit that we should have all known. If we all went to this mediocre meeting trading that thing we did like a few days prior, but hey, whatever, what do I know? It was so quiet. Y'all already know ADHD and silence and sitting still and doing nothing. Oh my God, nightmare. But whatever. I had to proctor by myself and it was stressful, even though it wasn't that bad. But what really bothered me was the fact that there was just so much going on in the hallway. Of course, like I said, coaches, staff, whatever, gallivanting in the halls. And then there was a kid that was kicking on a door. Now, you guys are probably like, why was the kid kicking on the door? The kid was kicking on the door because they got stuck. Why did the kid get stuck? Because the door was closed. Remember the door I told you that can't be closed or else you get stuck inside? Yeah, they were in that classroom. And Principal Click Clack was like, there shouldn't be any open doors. Walked past, closed the door, kid got stuck, started kicking the fucking door. So obviously the kicking is distracting my kids. I'm annoyed because now it's distracting the hell out of me. And it's just like, bro, like, and this is why as a principal, you need to actually be around and know what the fuck is going on. Because for you not to know that is crazy. Like, how did you not know that this door was broken? Like, all the doors on this floor are broken. That's why none of them be closed for real. There's only maybe a few that can actually close. But most of them, you're not supposed to close them because they get stuck. And if you were a principal that was around, you would know that. And I told her that later on, whatever. We'll get into that in the next part, right? So that day was just a lot. Like, that week was a lot. But nothing was worse than this stupid ass training they made us do. Now, this is where I really realized, right? right? Like, these people are living in their own delusion that, like, I don't want to be part of. Like, for a lot of people that kind of stay in these positions, right? I feel like a lot of them are so proud of themselves for taking on the struggle badge of honor that they look down upon others that choose themselves and choose their mental health and choose to see that they're better than that. I feel like a lot of people don't understand they're better than that. But then I also know and realize, especially after working at this school, a lot of them aren't. A lot of these people, they have no choice but to work at these schools. A lot of people have no choice but to work in these environments because they are not certified, they are not educated, they have no experience. And I realized that during this stupid youth development training day, right? Now, honestly, meeting the other people from the other schools was very telling, okay? It was very eye-opening, specifically because that's where I realized, and that's why I keep saying, I think that the other schools might be doing a better job than us, and that's probably why they treat us like shit, okay? In general, the network treats certain schools better. I'm not going to say which schools, but anybody who knows what I'm talking about knows what I'm talking about, okay? Everybody who knows what I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about. Certain schools get treated better. Certain schools get better funding, better costumes, better this, better equipment, and it shows. And the only reason I say this is because during this week, that's when I met the real athletic director. So the athletic director that I had in my school was like kind of like a co-athletic director. The one who was the athletic director for the network, I've never met. Never had an email, never had an introduction, never had anything until literally January. May I remind you guys, I quit the end of February. So at that point, it was just like, I don't really need to meet you. Like, there ain't shit to really talk about. But she wanted to talk to me about having a fundraiser for the children because they wanted to do this do good popcorn shit. The popcorn was actually really good, but it was like $30-$40 popcorn. It was very expensive. And basically half of the proceeds, okay, literally half of the proceeds of this $40 to $50 popcorn would go to supporting the dance team's efforts to get costumes. Now, apparently all the schools were doing this. And honestly, I thought it was a really bad idea. I was like, there's better ways to do this. And she said, honestly, she had to find a way to do a collective fundraiser because they wouldn't let her fundraise, or they wouldn't let us fundraise otherwise. So we thought of bake sales and stuff like that to try to get money for costumes. But in general, we had to do that in the first place. Now, she was cool. I didn't have an issue with her. A lot of people didn't like her. Like, literally none of the coaches, like, well, I'm telling you, nobody fuck with her. Just as bad as nobody liked the principal, nobody liked this athletic director. I thought she was cool. But for them, I think it was more so like, if you keep getting promised something and you're not getting it and the kids don't have the tools they need, but then you see other schools are getting the shit or other kids are getting preferential treatment. Yeah, I wouldn't really like her either if I had that experience, but I was never going to any of these games. And yeah, I wouldn't know. They have a better, longer experience with her more than I know. But anyhow, at that given time, I took the opportunity to ask her, like, hey, can I see some of the performances from the other schools? Because I was explaining to her how difficult it's been, how I haven't been able to get anything done. They had one performance and it was piss poor. And she was like, yeah, it's hard because you're a new coach, but you're also coming in with the team that wasn't already yours. So you didn't have time to, whatever. So she's telling me all of that. And she shows me the kids' performances from the other schools. And I'm just like, look, real costumes, look, real dancing, look, real coordination. I'm like, this is actually kind of interesting. When I'm telling you stark difference between my school and that school and any other school that they showed me. So I'm just like, all right, this is actually kind of interesting. And I find it quite low-key, high-key disrespectful. At this point, I was like, okay, now I see why people be complaining in this building, because that's like weird to me. How is it that some kids are getting costumes, some kids are not? Why is it that certain kids are sharing practice gear on certain teams? Like, that's not okay. So I saw that. And then after that, obviously came this stupid ass training. To be quite honest with you, I feel like they do this to try to like bring us together in a way and try to get us to, expand the network and make friends so we can connect. Honestly, I'm not going to hold you. I don't think it's a smart idea because like this shit really opened my eyes to seeing like what that school could be, and most notably how we were dropping the ball. So the way they structured this training was they had groups of like different, I forgot, they put us in different groups. So I guess they put us by league. I don't remember. I can't really tell you. Or they put us by genre. So like all the dance coaches were together, all the volleyball coaches were together. Yep, I think that's what they did. All the basketball coaches was together. But then there were certain times where we were mixed. And then there were certain times where it was league. It was very interesting. And we had to go to different classrooms for different trainings on different things. So one of the first ones was, okay, it was a debate. That one was was my favorite one. It was the best one. And to this day, I know I will be taking this concept for something that I do in the future. But the training was essentially on the importance of the different branches in the school. So one was academic and the other one was youth development. All I know is the activity had to do with, like, we had to do debates on what's more important, teachers or coaches. And before we had to do that activity, there were slides on the screen and we had to read certain things, and I volunteered to be the reader. Now, you guys have been watching me for years, okay? Besides the fact that I curse for a sailor, y'all already know, I speak very well. Mainly because my bachelor's is in broadcast journalism and my master's is in public relations. Therefore, I had to spend a lot of time talking. That's why I have YouTube channels. That's why they work, because people enjoy really hearing me talk. And in general, like when I'm actually like reading, like read aloud, I eat, okay? But also I would assume, okay, anyone that went to school, anyone that's been in an academic setting, especially if you're a teacher or a coach, you would also read well. Like, I know not everyone reads well, but this is why I say this. As I'm reading, everybody's just looking at me like, wow, she reads so good. Wow. Like, wow, she could really read. Literally, these niggas started clapping. The bar is in hell. If you are complimenting me for the way that I read, the bar is in hell, because all of us work with children here. All of us are essentially coaches and teachers. We teach health, we teach our subject, and we facilitate circle. There is no reason. Like, I know it's a compliment, but it's scary as hell. It's just like the kids that are out here getting valedictorian and salutatorian, and they know they can't read and they know they don't know anything and they know they're not ready for the real world. You ever heard of that story with that girl that, like, she's basically suing her district because she graduated as valedictorian and she don't know shit? It's the same thing. It's like, you should be happy, but at the same time, it's scary. Why am I getting congratulated for knowing how to read well? We should all be able to read well in this room. Okay, it wasn't just a little compliment the entire day. Oh my God, you read so well, you should start a podcast. I was like, I have a YouTube channel, and I left it at that. Okay, now the thing is, most of my jobs, I usually go in and I tell people I'm an influencer so that it's not surprising when I come on their timelines. So I didn't want these people to know shit about me, because I didn't really care for them. I'm not gonna hold you. With the exception of the people I built relationships with, they're the only ones that knew. Therefore, they're the only ones I have on social media. But other than that, I don't need y'all in my business. I don't need y'all in my face. But yeah, that's when that was my final nail. I swear to you, that was my final nail. And for a lot of you guys watching this, you might think like it's not that serious, or like, damn, like you're doing too much. For those of you guys that are legitimate intellectuals that went to school, that work in a school setting, that have children, you would know that, oh my God, holy shit, that's scary. Like, y'all understand exactly where I'm coming from, because what, like, y'all are congratulating me for knowing how to read. Like, even there were certain staff members, I sent them my channels. Like, again, there's some people I built relationships with. I sent them my channel. They're like, oh my God, like, you speak so well. Like, you could really tell a story. And I'm like, we should all have that skill. Like, yo, oh my God, thank you. But like, oh my God. So that day was eye-opening. It was very eye-opening because like everyone was very clicked up. Like, we were with each other because obviously we're Brooklyn. Everybody else, you know, the Bronx was together, the Queens was together, whatever. But you could see that we, like, it was so crazy. Like, for example, right? We were late to almost every single session. Okay. You know why? Because for whatever reason, the coaches and the coaches and shit wanted to roam. Okay, they wanted to play around. They wanted to do this, that, and the third. So literally, we have all the sites ready together in their groups. And you got niggas waiting for us. And they're like, hey, where's coach such and such? Hey, can you call blah, blah, blah? Because we're all waiting on them. And it's making us look bad. Okay, it's making us look bad because it's like, we're in our own building and we're late to the fucking training. How are we late to the training in our own building? Like, that's crazy. And to add insult to injury, it's freezing. It's freezing. Why are we inviting people to our home when we have no heat? How y'all invited people to come train at our school when we have no heat and it's like 20 degrees outside? Like, that is so embarrassing. Like, literally the entire day, all you hear is people, oh my God, it's so cold. It's so cold. It's so cold. It's so cold. Like, damn, can we hurry this up? It's cold. Like, it got to a point where everybody got in the group chat and started complaining like, hey, can we move this? Cause we're cold. Hey, can we go to this place? Cause it's cold. Like, hey, can we move it? Like, because like, everybody's complaining. And it's not even just us. It's literally everybody that we invited to our home to see that we have no heat. That shit, even the projects got heat. Like, this is lower than ghetto. This is crazy as fuck. This is more than just ratchet, right? And you guys are probably wondering like, yo, what was the story with the heat? To be quite honest with you, there was so many different stories. First, they said it was the landlord that turned it off. Then they said there was something up with the pipes. Then they said it was like, it was just every day. It was the different excuse as to why we had no heat. And it was so irritating because now it's more embarrassing that we have these people here and we're sitting there like, oh yeah, sorry, there's no heat. Yeah, make sure you keep your jacket on, da da da. And shit. What's even funnier is when we're going into these classrooms and everybody's like, don't close the door. And everybody's just like, what the, like, you know how crazy that sounds if you're trying to close a door, you're trying to open something, everybody's like, oh my God, don't do it. And it's like, what happened? Like, everybody's like, wait, why? You're going to get stuck. The door doesn't work. Da da da. That's so embarrassing. Our doors don't work. We have no heat. And you guys are probably sitting there like, well, damn, like, what would be the responses for this? Well, with the heat, I already told you guys what the response was. Heat, they were sitting here giving all these excuses. With the doors, they were sitting here giving excuses. And to make matters worse, you had people sitting here talking about something, well, I don't understand why Bronx is complaining because da da da. Well, Manhattan got rats in their school. At least we don't da da da. At least we don't have broken windows. That's their excuse. And you guys are probably like, wait, what the fuck? So the other schools have fucked up buildings too? Yes, the other schools have fucked up buildings too. It's just fucked up across the board. These schools are sitting here collecting all this money, okay, paying all these higher up people all this bread. Meanwhile, they're literally having classes in goddamn paper mache buildings, okay? They're renting these buildings. They don't own any of these buildings. And then they can't take care of these buildings. And then the landlords and stuff don't want them there. The communities don't want them there. Like, it's actually very interesting to me because it's just like, where's the money going for real? The kids don't have costumes. They all don't have their own individual practice gear and performance gear or uniforms to play. The teachers are definitely underpaid. I don't know who's really getting the fucking pay except for the people that are actually educated. Cause I ain't gonna hold you. My pay was pretty decent. Definitely still should have negotiated more. You guys don't own any of these buildings. You're renting these buildings. The heat don't work. So are you really even paying a heating bill? You got rats in one building, broken windows in another building. Like, I'm just not understanding. And then you guys have the nerve audacity to be opening another school and still not own that building. Like, now y'all see where like this shit, the frustration, like the frustration just keeps going and going and going. And it's just like, it's so fucking exhausting. Like, overall, the training went well, but it was just like, it was interesting to see how like everybody was like together. Like, everybody that was in their respective schools, like, you could tell they actually low-key liked each other. Like, you could tell that they liked each other. They were cool with each other. They were collaborative. Like, there were different trainings where people would talk about like things they did to create closeness, or like certain teams had different relationships with other teams and coaches had relationships with other coaches and would mentor other people's kids. That shit wasn't happening in my site. Everyone was rude, disrespectful, again, ghetto, unprofessional. There was a lot of he said, she said. There was a lot of people that genuinely just didn't like each other and they would make sure everybody knew about it. Like, oh my God, for example, let's talk about Secret Santa real quick. I kind of glazed over it because not too much happened. But I will say, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because a lot of these niggas like really didn't like each other. Like, it's mad crazy. Everybody was all smiling in each other's faces. Like, oh my God, I love my gift. I love my gift. Taking pictures, all of this extra shit. Meanwhile, we get to the office and niggas is complaining like, oh, why the fuck would she get me this? Oh, why the hell? Like, oh my, I spent all this money on fucking Secret Santa and this bitch, da da da. Like, talking shit. And I understand not all of us be liking what we get for Secret Santa. I liked my gift. I don't really care. Like, I ain't gonna hold you though. I don't think I've even opened mine. It was a blanket. I was supposed to get a Starbucks gift card. Never got it. I guess. Thanks. I feel like there was a third thing. Like, I liked it. I wasn't mad at it. I'm not going to talk shit about it. A lot of people were not happy with their gifts and they took it upon themselves just to talk about it openly. Like, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like with the other staffs, like, I'm not going to say they were all honky-dory besties, but you can tell like they low-key, like they had relationships with each other that were way more healthier than ours. Like, with ours, we're all fucking late. You got niggas sitting on, like, fucking Coach Danielle pissed me off. Why the hell we all get in the gym and obviously we all tried to sit together because we're one site. Why the fuck Coach Danielle gonna sit on the other side of the fucking gym? Like, bitch, come over here. Like, I'm like, girl, come. Like, you know, it's shit like that. And you could tell, like, even when we're sitting together, there's gaps. Like, niggas not really sitting together. It's the cliques within the cliques within the clips sitting together. It's just like, yo, this is like so embarrassing. Like, we got these niggas here, we clicked up, we can't be on time. There's no heat. The doors don't close. And our excuse for this is, well, you know, they have rats. Like, that. So fucking nuts. Like, after this training, I was just like, yeah, I need to get out of here. Like, I really need to get out of here because no, like, that week was very pivotal for me because it was like I already knew, like, the kids, I already knew it was going to take some time for me to build a rapport with them. I already knew whatever changed with them was not going to happen overnight, but they truly did irk me and make the experience harder than it needed to be because I was not dancing. I signed up to be a dance coach. Yes, I knew life coaching would be part of it. However, for me to be at a school as a dance coach and not do NT dancing at all, I didn't want any parts of it. Like, I knew, like, yeah, I need to get my shit together and I need to get out of there. And that was only 50%. The other 50% was the fact that the staff just not it for me. Like, I can't get down with ghetto behavior from adults in a building that already has kids that are at risk for being like y'all. That's when I realized, you know what? Y'all don't want to change. Y'all don't really care that these kids aren't going anywhere, because this ecosystem is made for them to either be funneled back in or get locked up. And additionally, y'all don't give a fuck and y'all don't see anything wrong with these children's behavior because you're just as bad as them. And the thing is, I used to be just as bad as these kids, and they changed because now I'm an adult. A lot of y'all are stuck in this mindset and this mind frame of wanting to be friends with these kids, wanting to be in high school again, that you're not understanding, and you're not realizing that you're damn near 50 and need to grow the fuck up. You're not understanding that you're no longer 16. You are now 28. It's time to grow up, babes. Like I said, right? I'm trying to keep this to one more part. This is probably the longest part that I filmed. I really want you guys, especially if you're in education or you're thinking about going into education, I urge you to research. If you can't find anything, just don't do it. Because that's what happened to me. I couldn't find much, okay? But try to find people. Don't stay longer than you're welcome. If you feel disrespected, if you feel like it's cliquish, if you feel like it's immature, if you feel like the staff is ghetto, whatever. If you see any red flags, run. Don't wait for 3. Don't be like me and wipe the slate clean and wait for God to give you a sign. Okay? The signs are already there. You have to listen to your intuition, but most importantly, you have to want better for you. No one can want better for you more than yourself. Do not stay trapped in these badass schools with these badass kids, with this badass admin, with this badass staff. Like, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to do well for you. A lot of you guys are struggling with your mental health. You're struggling with weight gain or weight loss. You're struggling internally with what you want to do versus what you're able to do or whatever. And a lot of it is specifically because you're in a horrible job. And this is not even just an educational thing. In a general sense, a lot of you guys are stuck, or you feel stuck where you are. Don't let a job determine the rest of your life. If you're miserable somewhere, if you don't want to be somewhere, make sure you do everything in your power to leave, because there's always options. Don't let anyone let you think that there's no options, because you always have a choice. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to this part of the video, comment. Let me see. What should we do? Comment the money emoji, because these niggas want to keep putting money in my pocket by running my videos back over and over. Meanwhile, they hate me and they're sending messages and they talking a lot of shit. So comment that money emoji. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hype the video on your way out. Scan the QR code for all my links. We're doing Haitian-based classes all month of May, and I would love to see you there. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Check out the other channels. Get your Haitian merch because it's Haitian Heritage Month, okay? And yeah, with that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Again, the next part will be the final part, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye.